There's nothing quite as comforting as gathering around with mom friends and sharing stories. Stories have a way of making us feel better, and they're great reminders that no family is perfect, and that's okay. So join us as we share some stories and laugh, learn, and grow together. It's the iMom Podcast. Welcome to this week's episode of the iMom Podcast. This week's story comes from Chloe, iMom's social media manager. I'm Abby. I'm a mom of 2 elementary-age boys. Also with us today are Susan, the founder of iMom and mother to 5 kids. They're all adults. And Megan, who is a mom to a toddler. Today's story is called Don't Fear the Mom Bod. All right, Chloe, take it away.
So I am not a mom yet, but I do have 3 nieces and a nephew. And my story is from when my sister-in-law was pregnant for the first time. So she was, I'm saying in air quotes, the cutest pregnant person because that's what was said about her all the time. She is just a tiny person, and she was all belly when she was carrying my niece. And she honestly was adorable. But I would hear all of this talk around me about how Lisa was just the cutest pregnant person. And I knew it was because she was so small. And I started to get scared, wondering, what if I'm not small when I'm pregnant? And what's the opposite of cute?
Kind of gross,
right?
Maybe.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, what's going to be said about me when I'm pregnant? Because you can't predict what you're going to look like. And I know my body will change, but you can't predict all the ways your body is going to change. And just for me, I've battled an eating disorder since I was a very young girl. And because of that, I've developed body image issues over the years. So control is something that I really struggle with. And pregnancy, you're giving up control of your body, and not just for the time you're carrying a baby, but for life after that as well. Your body changes in many ways. So just the change of all of it.
Do you think that you'll have maybe issues with allowing yourself to eat whatever your body tells you want to eat and not trying to like run every day or do things to control your weight gain? Is that what you're afraid of? Yeah,
that's definitely part of it. I think the whole concept of your body not even just being your own, you're responsible for growing another human as well. So that's something I'm afraid of.
So you have that layer of worry on that too. You're trying to be healthy for yourself, which is something you probably think a lot about because of your past. And then on top of that, you have to add this layer of pressure.
Right.
That you've got to be healthy for somebody else too.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that most of us deal with some type of like dealing with that lack of control that you experience when you're pregnant, because you're constantly poked and prodded and told, well, you need to be gaining more weight. You need to be gaining less weight. You need to do this. And so all of a sudden, like you said, Chloe, your body's not your own anymore, or you want to eat something that you never wanted to eat before, or
you want to eat a lot all the time. I was hungry all the time. Megan, you just had a baby though. What do you think?
I think, when you're in it and it's happening, it can be really tough to deal with. And it's a big change. But I think, like you said, you just have to remember that you're growing another human and it's okay. And it's normal and it's supposed to happen. My doctor told me it was fine to continue working out throughout my pregnancy. So that was something that I kept in my daily routine that made me feel a semblance of normality. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, now looking back, my son is almost 2.5 now. Looking back, it's such a short season. Mm-hmm. And yes, like my body has changed permanently from before I had him. But at the same time, it's such a short season. And looking back, I wish I hadn't stressed about it as much as I did. Because I had melasma, I had a number of skin things. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I permanently going to look like this for the rest of my life? Yeah. And it's really just hormones and different things going on. But at the time it was my first. And so I was very scared of, is this permanent? Like, am I going to be like this forever? And I wish I had just known what I know now, in that it's just a season and it's just a stage, and you will go or you will most likely go back to a version of your previous self.
Not the same.
You know what you just
Not
said, though,
exactly
made me think about like that while you're pregnant, so many of us worry, okay, I don't want to gain too much weight because I'm going to have to take it off. And it like robs us of being present throughout those 9 months and really experiencing the beauty of your body changing and growing.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it something that we dread and something that we're trying to prevent instead of embracing what God is doing. I mean, you get to participate in a miracle. Like when else do we get to play a hand in making miracles happen? And we're, instead of embracing it and observing it and loving it, we're just in the next stage. We're already thinking ahead of how am I going to lose this weight?
Yeah.
Or how am I going to keep myself from getting too big, which I think is a shame.
I think the problem with our culture is that we've been told to fight anything that doesn't help us look like fight aging, fight, we
can't
the
trust,
weight.
We can't trust the development of our body.
And I think at my age, what I realize is you're decaying. You can't stop it. You can have all the surgery in the world. You're just going to look weird. You cannot stop it. But motherhood jumpstarts that. Most people get pregnant, 20s, 30s. They really haven't suffered any effects of aging. And so it does jumpstart, whoa, my body just changed in a big way. And it is. I can honestly say your body does not go exactly back to what it was, no matter how hard you try. It just really doesn't. Your hips have expanded, different things have happened. That being said, if we just kind of embrace that and find peace with it, our bodies are decaying anyway. From the moment you're born, you're kind of decaying. That's just the reality. Your body's changing. And so embrace that motherhood is just part of that journey and it's going to change. The other thing, Chloe, that you haven't experienced yet that will come, that Megan just experienced is, it's scary. And oh my gosh, my chest got big, huge first, and that hurt. And then I had stretch marks there. And then I felt out of whack. And then, of course, your stomach starts growing. And then afterwards, you're still nursing. It's all out of whack. It took me 9 months after nursing before I felt my hips go back, and the jeans fit right again. That being said, that joy of nurturing this little human totally eradicates any, hesitation for what happened to your body. And you can't imagine that right now because you haven't experienced it. But you do after the baby's born. It's like, I do it again. I do it all again. It's just such a cool thing.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. So it helps you see it in much more beautiful light after the baby's born.
So let's talk about the phrase mom bod versus dad bod, because dads get to become like fluffy and it's handsome. They can still be like attractive with the dad bod. Like that's kind of a thing now. Meanwhile, mom bod is something that it's not even really, do we have the phrase? Is mom bod a phrase?
I feel
something
like it's
we
a
run
negative
from,
phrase.
right?
Yeah. It's like a fear of all women. I remember a friend of mine, like very soon after she had her baby, she was getting served all of these ads about like, get your body back, like 30 days to your old body, just constantly getting served content of, okay, you had the baby, now you have to be this way again. And it's just, the pressure is never ending for women. And we don't get to have this phrase that we get to identify with, like a dad bod.
Yeah. So when someone says mom bod, what do you think, Megan? Like what comes to your mind?
Unfortunately, it's not positive things.
Right.
And it's not funny like a dad bod, it's not.
Right. Mom bod to me it conjures up thoughts of avoidance, right? It's avoiding the belly, avoiding the hips, avoiding even the external stuff like looking tired or looking kind of sloppy. It looks like someone who is exhausted is the mom bod. Meanwhile, the dad bod is the body of someone who loves his kids, right? But a mom bod is perfect evidence of love. You have stretch marks because you let this baby grow inside of you. You have dark circles because you woke up in the middle of the night. You have scars because you let a doctor cut into you to remove that human from your body. So it should be, I think, even more than a dad bod, a symbol of love.
Yeah.
I think, when I think about it, the enemy, I'm talking about the devil, he must know we care more than men. Because it seems to me he gets to us more than the guys. They think it's funny. Where we as women, we let it bother us, and that's on us, because we shouldn't. Now, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to be fit. But those ads that are being served to us are being served to us because it does bother us.
Society, I think, industries, beauty industries, fashion industries have used Mom Bod, have used motherhood as a tool to attack at our self-esteem. And I think we do fall victim to it, but I do think we're being attacked.
They use it as a tool to make us buy things because we already have a low self-esteem.
Right.
And so they're using that weakness we have, which again, I see from the enemy. He knows that we care. And so he uses it against us. And I think to battle it at the very heart of it, we have to find peace with the body God gave us, knowing that he created us in his image and he loves us.
Yeah.
Did you gain a lot of weight with your pregnancies?
I did not.
Even you were pregnant 3 times.
I actually, Marky, they had to take him early because he was not gaining enough weight. But I was chasing 2 kids at that time. So let me just say I have a high metabolism. Yeah. And so I had a problem actually gaining weight on my 3rd pregnancy.
What about you, Megan?
I gained the normal amount. I think, they say it's somewhere between like 35 and I can't remember how many, or maybe 35 is the upper end. I can't remember. But then all of a sudden, towards the end, I jumped to like 70. And that was my first sign that I had preeclampsia.
But I bet you were freaking out. Tell me about your reaction.
I was freaking out because in the last month, I literally had doubled the weight that I had put on the entire time. And I knew something was wrong. I was like, there's no way I just gained 30 pounds in a month. And so that was my first clue that I had preeclampsia, which makes you swell crazy. You just swell up like a balloon, and it's all water weight, which fortunately went down right after I had him. But I was in tears because I was like, how could I have gained 30 pounds in a month?
Especially at the end, it's so hard to eat at the end.
Yeah, I was hardly even eating because I didn't feel great. And so we went in and I was induced, but it was a shocking, I thought our scale was broken because I was like, how is that possible?
Well, and not many people post pictures on Instagram or Facebook of them with preeclampsia or, gaining that last 30 pounds and are the pictures of them like super swollen. Yeah. It's all like the really like beautiful filtered pictures where the tiny little belly, like you said, Chloe. So I don't know, is it that we just don't see enough beauty in the weight gain? You know what I'm saying? Like we hide it. Yeah. We don't want people to see it when that's the kind of pregnancy we have.
Well, and I think what was interesting too is I actually had a friend who, when she saw me at the end, said, "Oh, you poor thing, you look, like kind of swollen." And I'm really glad she said that. And I remember my mom also saying something too. And I think people were like afraid to say something to me, but I was kind of glad they did because I was like, okay, this is not just me thinking I look really swollen, but I think we're so afraid to say anything to anyone. And granted, I'm not condoning you go up to a pregnant woman and say like, you got big.
But if her ankles are swelling, if her,
Yeah.
Right. But I'm really glad someone did say something to me because you don't know. I never heard of preeclampsia. I didn't know what it was. Yeah. I didn't, it's not something you want to think about. So
yeah, I gained like 25 pounds or so. Like I didn't gain a lot, but enough. But to me, it felt like I still felt so much bigger, like, and I can even feel my face contorting as I say the word bigger, like it's such a bad thing, but like I felt so much like ickier. And maybe that's what it is too, is that like your body, I don't know. I had great pregnancies. I didn't feel sick during my pregnancies. I didn't have like painful pregnancies, but at the same time, so much of it felt like I was either a little bit uncomfortable or food didn't taste as good as it had. Like there were certain foods that I always loved and I'm like, I don't really like this anymore. So there's like kind of a bit of an icky feeling because your baby is taking all these nutrients from you as he should or she should. So maybe, I don't know, maybe like part of the discomfort of pregnancy or the ickiness in it is that we're just giving more to the child than we get. Maybe that contributes to some of the negative feelings.
I think for you, Chloe, the hard thing is going to be the fear of the change and not knowing what the change is because you're so good about being fed.
Well, that's the thing. Like I have a routine. I'm a disciplined, eater. I work out, athlete. Yeah, like everything. And that, it's just not going to be the same. So it's going to be a lot of change at once.
It's going to be different.
And one thing I was going to say too is at the beginning, myself included, I have a lot of friends that are very healthy eaters and they are very good about what they eat. In the beginning, all they could stomach was bagels and mac and cheese. It's like you end up eating in the beginning like a 4-year-old. And that happened to me too. And I felt so gross. Yeah. Like I used to eat like so well. And now this is what I'm eating. Of course I'm going to gain weight. Like this is what I'm eating.
We were visiting Megan and we went to what was that little town we went to? I don't know, but we had to stop on the way and get something to eat. And so we all ran into Publix, the grocery store, and got some stuff. And we get in the car and Megan has a full size bag of Cheetos. And I go, are you eating Cheetos? And her husband Hampton goes, yep, Megan's pregnant. She's living her best life.
That's awesome.
Well, and it's not
she never
eats
Cheetos.
Well, but what was so funny too is it's not like I was pregnant and just wanted to like pig out.
Yeah.
I was so nauseous that I could only stomach very bland, like 4-year-old
Cheetos.
foods. But that was like all I ate. But it was the only thing I could keep down. And my doctor was like, well, you have to eat. So you have to like eat what you can keep down.
Yeah. That's so true.
So let's insert the change. So what is the change? Chloe, you just said that, you get served these things in your Instagram and a mom friend of yours got served a lot of stuff. So what companies out there are fighting this? Well, Dove has done some great videos on just trying to turn the whole image thing around. They did Dove Onslaught. They did the one about women aging, where they described themselves to an artist, and he drew them differently than what they saw. They've done some really. I know we're getting chills. People need to go look at those on YouTube. It's the Dove Beauty campaign, I think, and they used to have one every year, but there's so few. They're the only ones I know that really kind of do that.
I was looking on, I don't know if it was Target or I don't know what ad it was, but the model in it had alopecia. No, it wasn't alopecia. It was vitiligo.
What is vitiligo?
So it's when you have like the white splotches. Yes. So it's more, you can see it more on an African-American. 25 years ago, I don't think you would ever see that kind of model. It was all just the beautiful person, the quintessential beautiful person. But are we going to see pregnant women in ads that are not maternity ads? Because not for clothing, obviously, because that just doesn't make sense to model clothing if you're pregnant. But
Sure.
I think the important thing is to just have conversations and set your expectations before you get pregnant. Is my body's going to change?
Yeah.
But I want a child, and this is what I'm going to be given. Whatever.
I do think it totally makes sense of what you said of. Our bodies are changing already. I remember the year I turned 25, my body changed a lot. I was a college athlete and I looked one way for a very long time. And a couple years out of college, my body changed and I was putting weight in an area that I never did. And I just got whiter and it's never changed. And it didn't matter what I ate or didn't eat. It was just, that was the way it was. And I'm really glad you brought up the point about I haven't experienced the love of a child, because what I have experienced is the love of a husband. And the way he makes me feel about my body is a way that I've never felt about my body before. It's the love I feel when we go out and get Mexican food and we come home and he's still like, oh, you're so hot. I'm like, I'm so bloated right now. Like it's that unconditional. He feels that I'm so beautiful and it makes me believe I'm so beautiful. So while I haven't experienced that from a child, I feel like I've experienced a fraction of it from marriage.
And after you have that child, you just don't care. You go through it all again because it's just so great. The funny thing is I didn't gain a lot of weight with my pregnancies, But I remember after I had Megan laying on the table and going, oh my gosh, I am so skinny. Like all of a sudden this bump is gone. And of course I'm laying down, so it makes it. And I remember thinking, I'm going to get right back in those jeans. And I thought I was so thin because you've been carrying around this ball. And I went home and a couple of days later I put on my jeans. They weren't even going up mid-thigh.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, wait, I don't understand. I feel so thin. The other thing I noticed when I was pregnant is I was constantly at the end going, see, everyone I saw, I'd say, gosh, you look great. Are you on a diet? You look like you've lost weight. It's just because I was getting bigger. Everybody else was getting smaller.
Yeah.
But that's when I realized after, even though a lot of the weight came off with the baby, your body has changed.
It just changes.
It's not even the weight. Your hips are bigger. Your body has changed. All those ligaments have loosened and they don't always go back.
Yeah.
And so it's just a forever change. It's a radical forever change.
Well, and I do think this is one thing I've learned when I turned 25 is there's nothing wrong with getting a new pair of jeans.
That's right.
You don't have to let a $60, $70, depending on where you shop, $80 pair of jeans define the rest of your day.
Yep.
Get a new pair.
Megan, did you have a C-section with James? That's kind of personal, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I didn't have a C-section either.
She had forceps. Does that count?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not go that
far. Well, like when you mentioned, Susan, your belly being like all of a sudden you're skinny again, I remember immediately like in the hospital, like so within those first 2 days, missing my belly, like not missing the bigness of it, but like it was just me and him for so long. And all of a sudden it's like, well, it's not just me and you anymore. Like you're not inside of me anymore. You're not fully like here with me.
I miss the movement.
Yes.
I really miss the movement.
Yes. Feeling the kicking, feeling just the turning and the everything, the hiccups, all of it. I miss that so much. And then you go home and you're like, why is this belly still here? Why do I still look 4 months pregnant? And I don't think enough people warn you that that's going to happen. Like you don't leave the hospital with a even close to flat stomach, even if you have weight to lose.
Kate does. Why do we have Kate?
Oh, right. Exactly.
Princess, what's her name?
Middleton. Yeah.
Middleton. She always stands on the steps in a dress. And I'm like, where did that baby go?
Did anybody tell you your feet are going to get bigger? I went from 8.5 to a 9.
Mine did not get bigger, but I've heard of that. It's the hormones. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I wear a 9 now. It looks like I have canoes.
Chloe,
on my feet.
mine didn't. So
what is up with that?
I know it's the hormones. I've heard that. I've heard it when you age too.
It's funny, like all the other ways your body changes. I feel like there's like a good explanation for it. The wider hips, but why the feet?
Yeah.
What's the point, God? So that kind of brings another point. Like what another beautiful thing is that having children can help you love your body better. And I can't wait to see that happen with you, Chloe, because I think that they have ways of pointing out something about your body that they love, that you're like, okay, well, I see this through my eyes. I see this belly, this extra fluff here as something that I need to get rid of and that people surgically have removed, but they like touching it and they like resting their head on it and they think that it's fluffy. And kids come up and like, well, not random kids, my children come up and like whack me in the butt and like make a comment about mama's butt, whatever. I'm like, fine, just have your moment and move on, like instead of being overly focused on the shape, the size, the weight, the whatever, it's like kids have this way of wrecking us and then making us whole again by, I think, just revealing by loving us.
It gives your body a new purpose.
And I will say this. Is it wrecking us or is it like growing us? When I had Megan, I just from the gut bawled. It's such a miracle. Like the fact that our body knows how to do this.
Yeah.
And sorry guys, you don't get to do this because it is it's a miracle. It really, you can't explain it. Like, how does the body know to go through all these changes in not just 9 months, even the whole nursing thing? Like, you have the baby and you can, all of a sudden, your milk comes in. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's the first time you do it, it's kind of like, whoa, I have superpowers I didn't know about.
Yeah. That's super cool.
I'll share also, like, even having kids that are like, once they're older and able to talk and, you know, out of that newborn stage, I always, and, you know, kind of on the note of not liking something about our bodies, I always thought that my eyes were kind of boring. You know, I have brown eyes, like dark brown eyes. They're not a particular shape. I don't have particularly long lashes. They're just 2 holes in my head that help me see, you know.
2 holes in my head.
And one day I was playing with my son, and he was probably like 1 or 2 at the time. And I looked at him and I was like, gosh, he just has the prettiest eyes. They are like this deep, deep brown. And like, you could see forever if you just look into these 2 little eyes. And then I looked in the mirror and I was like, we have the exact same eyes. Both of my boys have my exact same eyes. And I get compliments on them all the time. People are like, gosh, their eyes are so pretty. They're so deep and dark. And it's like, I find so many reasons to criticize myself and to pick myself apart. And then we have these like little moments through motherhood of revealing beauty where we find flaws, you know? And I think that's just the best. It's the best.
Yeah. I love that. My mom is like, I'm not just saying this, one of the most gorgeous women I know.
Yeah. She looks like she's your sister.
I literally had a hard time in school because the boys I went to school with were like, your mom is so hot.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous. And every now and then I will hear her say something about her appearance. And I'm like, lady, I want to look like you. Like now, like she's gorgeous. And I don't know, I guess I never thought about how that could happen when I become a mom, but I've experienced that as her daughter.
How can you start to focus on the beauty of motherhood and the body that it has given you? What do you love about your body because your kids love it? Tell us. You can find the link in the show notes. And if you have a mom story to share, we would love to hear it. Send your story through Instagram at imom.com and Facebook at imom. Or you can email imom@familyfirst.net, and you can find links to all the things we chatted about in our show notes, including an article from imom.com about the Mom Bod. We've also provided a link to subscribe to our iMom Minutes so you can get quick daily inspiration right in your inbox. Hope you enjoyed listening. The iMom podcast is hosted and produced by Abby Watts, along with Susan Merrill, Megan Tigner, and Chloe Blumenthal. Edited by Isaiah Gunther.